Good evening. This is a presentation on the application of McLelland's theory of motivation, a case study on a global and a famous leader, Dr. OkonjoIweala. It is a presentation by me, Patrick Akinjo, in fulfillment of my doctoral program in the course Leadership Styles, Motivation, and Behavior. First and foremost, it is a course, it is a topic in motivation theories. And it is important to mention ab initio that every human act is has a motivation um, behind it. It is important to know that it could be cultural, psychological, um, and most importantly, motivation could be positive and negative. In fact, as stated by Bandu, motivation is a psychological drive that energizes and directs behavior towards a goal. This case study is going to be in study of an analysis of McLelland's theory, like I said earlier, given the global leader Okonjo-Iweala. So, who is Okonjo-Iweala? Okonjo-Iweala is a Nigerian-born economist, transformational leader, if I may use that term. She once served twice as the finance minister in Nigeria under the presidency of Obasanjo. She negotiated during her time a huge debt relief that Nigeria had from the Paris Club. In fact, I'm the first person to do that in the history of modern Nigeria and carried out a lot of reforms, a lot of life changing reforms as the finance minister of Nigeria. Internationally, she was also at some point in time the second to the director general, to the president at the World Bank, a role which translated her immediately into the first African director general of World Trade Organization, a position she holds until now. A global priority, as the case is obvious in vaccine equity, trade justice, and climate change. She performed a lot of wonders during the period of COVID-19 in making accessible all forms of vaccines to all forms of people around the world, given a role at the World Trade Organization. Also, she believes in trade justice and believed that and third world nations and first class nations should operate on the same economic trade justice. And finally, she's so passionate about climate change and a good chunk of priorities as a world leader tilts towards climate action. The McLelland theory, as the case is essentially the theory that states that humans, are driven essentially by three factors. Hence, it spoke about the need for achievement, the need for power, and the need for affiliation. It is important to state at this point that these needs are not sacrosanct. They come in various, and one could be before the other based on the culture, level of experience, and personality. Need for achievement, as we can simply say, is a drive to succeed, setting goals and accomplishing tasks immediately. The need for power can be further expressed as a desire to influence, control, and have authority over order and the environment. The last one, the need for affiliation, is a drive to create close personal relationship, most importantly, in order to avoid conflict. Dr. Okonjo Iweala embodies these three needs as proposed by McLeland. A need for achievement in World Trade Center is super compared to none until even as the story of this day has it. She socialized concept of need for power was obvious when she was the finance minister in Nigeria. She wielded her power, understanding her office, and she stepped on shoes, she stepped on toes. That at some point in time, her mother was kidnapped, and the only ransom they wanted was for her to step down as the Minister of Finance of Nigeria, which she didn't do. And ultimately, with our office at that global level, she built connections and connected people back and forth in Africa, in Asia, and even in the Western hemisphere. The implication of this motivation theory for OkonjoIweala is that it puts her into the realm of transformational and servant leadership. She sets ambiguous reforms, leverages influence, and builds trust in coalition. Ultimately, this motivational blend correlates with leadership outcome as epitomized in the life of Okonjo-Iweala. And the McLellan theory, in fact, gives a good framework to understand this woman, to understand our driver into the business world, and that propelled her to be a global leader. Finally, I have my references stated there. Thank you for listening.